In late January, Recep Tayyip Erdoğan announced new elections in Turkey for this May.
Siz kıymetli gençlerimizle
An opportunity to consolidate his grip on power after 20 years as president. But just 2 weeks later, the earthquake hit, and Erdogan's re-election suddenly faced aftershocks he'd never expected. With thousands dead and villages in ruin, Erdogan declared a state of emergency.
119. maddesinin
The emergency powers will last 3 months, he said, which would be until just before the election. The next day, Erdogan comforted residents in one of many disaster areas.
devletin kurumları
He acknowledged problems with Turkey's initial response, but later promised that cities would be rebuilt within a year. But many residents, now homeless and in the dark, are angry at the government's response. Is our state so incapable, he says? We have 30 bodies lying here. And with more than 6,000 buildings collapsed, the political opposition says regulations have not been enforced. You, Erdogan, are to blame for the disaster, says the president of the People's Republican Party. You and the construction mafia that built without standards while making massive profits.
I think the earthquake could be a turning point.
This analyst says the earthquake could expose the weaknesses in Erdogan's leadership.
Critical posts have been filled with loyalists instead of people who have the necessary background, and that makes the country vulnerable and compounds the problems when a disaster like this hits.
Another potential presidential rival is Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu. He has criticized Erdogan's imposition of emergency powers. Restricting social media and internet communication, he says, represents fear of the truth and weakness. Erdogan could, however, use those powers to political advantage.
He can further limit the room for maneuver of these political parties and political actors, which is a huge concern ahead of the elections.
Erdogan is a pivotal figure on the world stage. He has deftly navigated membership in NATO while maintaining dialogue with Russia's Vladimir Putin. But for now, he will need all his political skills at home to persuade the people of Turkey before the coming election that however grim the death toll from the earthquake, he and his government are not to blame. Eric Sorensen, Global News.